Alright, so hi guys, editing me again. Hopefully my audio sounds better. I do not know why it sounds like I am underwater for so many of my recent videos. When I'm editing with headphones, it doesn't sound like that. When I take out the headphones, it doesn't sound like that. But the second I upload to YouTube, I genuinely don't know why my microphone sounds like I'm underwater. I've done multiple tests now, and it apparently is better here. But the audio in question you're about to hear after this little update is not, and I really didn't want to re-record it. I tried to salvage it the best I could, but hopefully this issue is fixed. I do apologize. But before we go into the video, I also want to ask you guys a question. Now, I actually was informed and emailed by someone who works for a convention, I don't want to say right now, and we decided that we were going to do a collaborative piece where they have worked on a committee on where, like, what you need to apply for an artist alley. And they wanted to do a interview podcast style of video, which won't be going up next. The next one's going to be another video that I already had pre-done in the convention series, but it will go out right after that. And so I want to ask, what are questions you have for both of us? For the person who's worked for multiple years on a committee to help get artists into an artist alley and picking artists, and for me, someone who's done quite a few conventions. And I'm actually going to reach out to a couple of my friends and mutuals if they want to do a collaborative kind of thing who have done more conventions than me. Because, relatively speaking, while I figure myself as a little bit of well-versed, I actually have quite a few friends that have done many, many, many cons compared to what I have under my belt. So I just want to hear from you guys because this is like a little series that I'm doing here that I'm working really hard on. So yeah, please let me know if you want me to interview more people, and please let me know your questions for that future video. Thank you so much for listening, and let's get into the tips for if you want to go to Artist Alley. Dun 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 dun! Here we go. It is time for the Artist Alley tips video. Dun, dun. Now this is mostly going to be, I will be doing a whole nother one that is just tips for people working in Artist Alley. I know, Michelle, what are you doing? Splitting it up into multiple things. But if you saw anything about my last video, you know I can ramble for a while, and I have my handy dandy paper ASMR here with some notes, and I would rather just split it up so that way it's not completely bogged down in one video. So most likely the next video is going to be Artist Alley tips for if you're going as an artist. So right now we're just going as you just want to go to Artist Alley and support your favorite artist, or maybe you're an artist and you want to support other people just like you. So now here's something that's really important. If you want to get convention commissions, this is a big thing. They used to be really, really big back when I was younger, and I don't see it as much anymore. You need to remember, artists want to be busy, okay? We want to be busy. It means we're making money. It means we're selling our merch that we worked really hard, either making, prepping, getting ready, organizing, taxes, all that work. We want to be busy. Not a lot of artists want downtime. Not a lot of artists want to be able to just, have to make all their money from commissions. There are artists that do that when they do Artist Alley, especially if it's their first time con. They don't have a lot of merch. They're doing things like that. That's a very different situation. Or if they have an art buddy. I have always had an art buddy, and for this most recent con that I got into, there's actually going to be 2 days where I'm not going to have an art buddy. I'm going to just be by myself. So I'm most likely not going to be taking commissions during that con. So what you should do is, first of all, look at a booth before you even ask if they have commissions. Usually they'll say somewhere at the booth that they're offering. If they do not offer it, do not ask. It usually means they don't have time for it. You will usually see it somewhere with an example, or like, ask me about commissions or something like that. But before you do that, please check out the booth and see if maybe they have some originals for sale. I cannot tell you how many times I got commissions as a mostly commissioned artist, where I was used to getting commissions of people's characters before I did cons. And that was the time where I suddenly had a bunch of people like, oh, I want this character from this game. And I was like, oh, I don't know what that is. Or, oh, I want this character from this game. I want this character from this anime. And I was like, oh, okay. I had to do some Googling there. So, sorry for that cut. My cat was being weird. But anyway, see if they have originals. There are a lot of artists I know that I would go through and I would look at when I would go to cons and Artist Alley, where they had like a little portfolio or a little black book or something full of originals they were selling. Look at that first before offering a commission. They might actually have an art piece of something you do like in there that's already done, so you're saving the artist time. And most of the time, not always, but most of the time, I've also seen those done at a discount because they're already done. So that's something to be prepared for, to look into. And if they are doing commissions, this is really important for you as the con goer and the customer to know. Like I said earlier, they want to be busy. They might get busy. I have had many a story of where my own commissions couldn't get done that I paid for during cons. So if you're getting a traditional commission, you better be willing to give them your address and let the artist know, because we are still people. We take time, life happens. We might want to do stuff after the con and, like, have some fun to de-stress after a very long and stressful day. You need to be willing to give them your address to mail out the commissions. I actually had this happen to me when I did San Japan one year, where there was a bunch I didn't get done, and I asked the people, I'm like, hey, I couldn't get this done in time, I'm so sorry. Can I, like, mail this to you? And I hope they got it. I never got word back, but I definitely mailed it off, and I was already paid for it. You also need to be willing that if you couldn't get it done or even get it started, if they come by your booth and they keep asking, you know what, just give them a refund. Be like, I'm so sorry, stuff happened, and I didn't have the time to finish it. Do you want a refund? Do you want me to mail it to you? Again, they are people. You need to be willing to take those options, all right? And so if that's the case, just be chill and relaxed, because the next thing I have in here that I'm going to be going to is, let's do the commissions one all over again. But when I did my first San Japan, I did commissions with my friend Holly. And now she got all of her commissions done the next year because she had a little bit more time than I did. And so what happened was we took a bunch and we were hanging out with our friends, and we wanted to hang out with our friends after having a long day, because AA usually starts 2 hours before the people even get there, and you usually don't leave until after everyone's gone. You can leave early, obviously, but it's not usually a safe bet to do. And so I cannot tell you how long Holly and I stayed up one night because we were trying to get our commissions done for the next day. After hanging out with our friends, after having to wake up early, and that whole next day we were just dead. We were exhausted. I think we each drank 4 giant coffees just to stay personable. And I know I met some of you there, and so if I seemed a little out of it at San Japan, the first year I worked there, and I was really, really tired, that's why I ended up staying in my hotel and just waking up really early to finish one for someone. And I got some of them done. I couldn't get all of them, obviously, but it's something that I learned that, in a previous tips video, I was like, oh yeah, just take it home and work on it in your hotel. No, big mistake. Stupid Michelle. You were dumb. You did not know what you were talking about. God, you were so tired that next day, and that's something I don't want to do, which is why, like I said, I'm most likely not going to be taking commissions at a con anytime soon, unless I have a buddy or I know it's going to be a smaller con or something. And so please remember that, keep in mind. If it is an artist you really, really, really care about and you really want to meet, see if on their social media they are offering traditional pickup commissions beforehand. I've seen artists do this before, where they're like, hey, here's the price. If you're going to the con, you still have to pay up front. You pay now, but you can pick it up at the con so I can cut out shipping. So that way they can get some stuff done on their own time before that, and your commission's already done that you can pick up. If it's an artist you really, really care about, obviously. But yeah, check that out. See if they're doing that. I might do that this year. Keyword on might. It's a very, very low might. But I might do that for enough people if they want to go to the con that I'm going to be talking about, which I will announce which con I will be going into soon. I'm just waiting for my badge to come in the mail to make it more solid that it's going to happen, and I don't have to worry about losing it. And so when that happens, I'll let you guys know. But I will say it's a convention in Southern California towards the end of July, early August. So yeah, just keep that in mind when you're talking to artists and stuff. Now, the next thing I have here is, if you see fan art you like, please talk about it with the artist. Obviously, again, unless they're really, really, really busy, But if they're having if it's a little bit of a lower time, because again, during cons there are low periods and dips. I cannot tell you the absolute joy I had at Anime Impulse in 2020 before Six Spiky Round Boy did Six Spiky Round Boy. How much fun I had talking with all the Fire Emblem cosplayers, talking with the Fire Emblem nerds, and the Steven Universe people, and just being able to gush and talk about stuff. And it was so much fun. So much fun being able to just geek out and nerd out with other people that like the things I liked. And that's like a big highlight to being able to draw fan art, to going to these nerdy things, to seeing people and stuff like that. It just made my con. It really, really did. Getting to talk to people, talk about ships, talk about crack ideas, make jokes. Lots of people like my tip jar. My old tip jar at the point was a like really bad picture of Dimitri time skip, where I like edited over. I did my little thing where I edited over an animal picture where I like drew him over a pig, and I was like, "Help give piggy bath," and people loved that and like took pictures of it, and it was so much fun. Trust me, many of us are also nerds like you, and we do want to talk about it. There are a couple artists out there that just do fan art just because it makes them money, and you can usually tell because especially if there's like a low time they don't want to talk about it. Usually that's kind of the case, you know. But it's what makes it fun. So if you see something like, especially, I like a lot of niche stuff. If I see niche stuff, I want to talk about it. Like if I see IDV merch being sold at this con, which I'm definitely not, maybe yes doing, I want to talk about it, you know. And so I know other people are going to want to do that too. Make the artist happy, make yourself happy, and who knows, you might even get a friend out of it. Don't hold that to it though, because the next one I have right here is please don't linger and not buy something. Most artists nowadays have something cheap, okay? I cannot tell you one of the biggest pet peeves as an artist is when we will have people talking to us, engaging, being around our booth for a long period of time, and then just like, bye. And it's like, okay, bye. Um, I, mm, and that's what I'm talking about. You know, you can talk, especially if it's like a low period. But if you are like actually cutting into their business, I've had this happen to me where I've had people talk to me when other people wanted to get my attention because they wanted to buy something, and this one person just kept talking. Now there were a couple people that were like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and they like stepped to the side, let me do my stuff, and then came back, and that's fine because I've also done that. That's usually fine. But like I said, it's the people that just linger. They don't buy anything. Most artists now have a tip jar. Drop them a tip, even some cents, if you're doing that, because I can't tell you how irritating it is when someone will talk your ear off for 40 minutes and they won't buy something, even if it's something super cheap. Like I said, look into something really, really, really cheap on their table. They usually will have something. They will have a sticker, a button, a tip jar, something. It's just a basic etiquette thing. So that way we don't feel like we've lost our time and our money. I'm also not saying this to call out some people where they're like, oh God, did I do that? Did I do that? Oh, because I also did that when I was younger. There were many times that I talked to artists when I didn't have money and I just da 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 da, or I'd go back to booths and I would just da 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 da, and I had a great time. But I realize now, working it as an artist, while that is great, we are there to make money. We are there to help fund our business and pay for like things, you know. It's actually really, really rare to have an artist that's there that's just like, yep, I've never made any money or any profit at a con. I just like going. They exist. I know there are a couple of them on YouTube where it's like, yep, every single con I've ever done, I've never made a lick of profit, and that's okay. And that's great for you, and I do mean that, but not everybody is as privileged as you. Many of us need to get this stuff done. I remember for a fact that and this goes into my next one, is don't ask if they're doing a sale. Don't ask if they're doing a sale on like the first day. Just don't. That's really, really rude. Don't do that. Um, I can't tell you how many people on the first day of the con were like, "Are you going to do a sale at the end of the con?" And then before I used to be stupid and say, "Yeah," and then they'd be like, "Okay," and then walk off, and I would see them on the last day clear me out. It's actually quite normal for artists to do sales towards the end of something, especially if they flew out. I know whenever I do San Japan, at least for me, it might be out of me right now, but whatever merch isn't sold out or anything that I have, because I have to fly there and I used to have to fly with my merch. On the last day, I'm like, everything's 50% off from my side of the table. Like everything, like I don't want to hit custom, or I don't want to hit the weight limit in my suitcase flying back home. I want to be able to, like, make more money here. So most people will have signs on usually the last day if they're doing a sale or not, but it's really rude to go up and do that. You realistically probably wouldn't do that in real life if you went to a retail store where you would go and, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go get some Target panties where it's like that, like five or something for $20 or what it used to be. And then I go to the cashier and I go to the checkout and I have the thing and then she gives me the price and I'm like, okay, but are you guys like gonna do a sale on those panties soon? I'm just wondering. And then if they're like, oh yeah, where we are in like a couple days, I'm like, okay, cancel my order. I'm just gonna go and be back when the sale is. Bye. Yeah, just see, that's rude. You wouldn't normally do that. And that being said, you can't expect all artists to do sales. Some of them need to make their profits back. Maybe they didn't do as well as they thought they would and they can't afford to do a sale, you know? Or vice versa. Maybe some of them really have to do a sale because they didn't make it back and now they're not really making much money. They're just trying to get out of the red. That also happens too. So just don't be rude. Wait around, see. If you are only there for one day and like you want to get something from an artist, let them know, see if they'll do holds on things, especially if it's like a rare item or a thing. See if they will do, a payment plan situation kind of thing. But, if you don't follow through on your end, then they get to keep the money that was given because you didn't follow through on your end. Just look into it. Now, the next one, which is going to be the last one for this part, is ask before taking photos. I actually really like going to Artist Alley and like asking the artist, like, oh, can I take a picture of your booth for inspiration? And I will purposefully walk like farther away so I get the whole booth in frame. And that way I'm not just like taking a picture of their artwork to use as a screensaver. I've seen a lot of people do that. It's really rude. We know what you're doing. It's not nice. Usually, unless it's like a meme or something funny. I remember I actually asked this once because there was a tip jar of a person where they had like a really, really good like painted T-Rex as like cosplaying as Naruto. And I remember being like, that's hilarious. Because they weren't selling it as a print. It was like a little original. I'm like, can I send a picture of this to my friend? Is that okay? And they were like, yeah, sure, that's fine. And so I did that. But I asked. But I've also seen people who are like, can I take a picture of this? And then people will be like, yeah. And then you'll see them get close with their phone, try to get it into perfect view, not get the glare, and do all this, and then take the screenshot and then go home. It's like, okay, at that point, just get their business card, look up their Twitter, and save it to your phone. Like, at that point, it's probably on their Twitter or their Instagram or their portfolio site. Do it that way, because people already do that. Don't be that person, because that is really rude. And again, most artists will be okay with you taking a picture of their setup if you ask. Don't just be like, click, because I've had that happen to me, and it was pretty uncomfortable of like someone coming up, and I see them just with their camera out, and I'm like, oh, hi, and then just click and then walk off. And I'm like, okay, I guess. Ooh. But yeah, that's just some basic etiquette for Artist Alley if you are going as a patron, And obviously another one too is actually check out the business cards you take. Try to remember the artist you like. Something I like doing when I get prints from an artist is if they do have the supplies and stuff, I usually ask for them to put their business card with the picture that I'm getting, so that way I know whose business card is what, because sometimes it's hard to tell, and it's not always that great. But yeah, there's other times where you're like, hey, I'm gonna check out this person's social media. I'm gonna check this and that out. So like, actually do that, Yeah, I think that's it for the advice right now. And then next video we're gonna go into Artist Alley tips for artists. So thank you guys so much for listening. I love you all so much. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and comment for the bot. Every little bit helps. It really, really does. I'm not even just saying that. Thank you as always to my amazing Patreon patrons. Without you guys here, I would not be able to make this kind of content. I love you all so much. I make a new video every Wednesday. My social medias are in my Linktree link down below. And I will See you guys next time. Bye-bye.